So I wanted to know, is it just fairies, or can I be a little bit more creative with this pack? Can I use these things in my own way? Can I make D&D races? Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cinderellimouse and today I have early access to The Sims 4 Enchanted by Nature expansion pack, courtesy of the EA Creator Network, so thank you very much to them. That does mean that not all images and gameplay and things that you see on the screen are going to be entirely 100% finalized. If you see any kind of like little glitches, hopefully they're going to be ironed out for the full release, but just letting you know that this is like an unreleased early version of the game. If you see my name floating around the screen, that is just kind of like a precaution for the Sims, just to make sure nothing gets released early. So that's why that's there. So I am a bit of a nerd and I love D&D. I love kind of like fantasy games and fantasy races. So when I saw that they were doing Enchanted by Nature, I was really hoping for something a bit more open. With it being an expansion pack, I was a little bit disappointed that they went so heavily focused on fairies, and I really wanted something that felt a bit more, I suppose, like a bit more like a Sims Medieval kind of spin-off type thing, or inspired pack that felt a bit more like Lord of the Rings, or something that was like Baldur's Gate, D&D, something that felt a little bit more broad than these specific fairies. So I'm really excited for the fairy girlies because I hope that you got what you wanted. For me, the style of the pack is maybe a little bit childish, a little bit like Disney or Barbie movie inspired fairies. I would have liked something a little bit more kind of mature, kind of I don't know, traditional, but that is just my personal taste. So I wanted to know, is it just fairies, or can I be a little bit more creative with this pack? Can I use these things in my own way? Can I make D&D races with this pack? And I'm actually quite impressed with what I was able to do, and I think I'm going to be able to do a lot more when I kind of get the other occults installed, and I can play around and kind of see what I can do with that. So let me introduce you to my Sims. I have Elco Fernwood. Now Elco Fernwood is a ranger. He is a wood elf. Technically he is a fairy because I wanted to be able to access some of the fairy features for him. So I do, like, a little bird told me that when you have different packs installed, if you have any packs with animals installed, there is some fairy gameplay that can be performed on or with animals. So I wanted him to be a ranger because rangers specifically are kind of like animal themed. They often like track and hunt in the forest and things like this. So Elco Fernwood, he is a wood elf. He loves his land. He wants to protect and befriend all the animals within it. So if you have other packs installed and you want to kind of, have him befriending the birds from Cottage Living or the wild foxes, or have him have like a horse or something like this, like absolutely, that would be his perfect kind of thing. And so he really wants to protect the animals that are within his territory. So this does mean that he's going to kind of like hunt and defend against anything that would threaten that. He's adorable. Let me just zoom into his little face, and then I can kind of talk about some of the new features with this pack as well while I'm kind of showing you this. So it's really easy to make a fairy. If I just show you here and add a new sim, all you need to do, so if you can hear sniffling in the background, my eldest has finished the GCSEs and she's around and full of hay fever. So I'm going to go here. So you create a new sim, and all you have to do is pick an occult here on the screen, and you can just go ahead and make them a fairy straight away. Now the fairy has two forms. They have the normal kind of like human disguise, and then they have their kind of like full-sized fairy form. You can go in, you can adjust their wings. There's a huge amount of selection to choose from here, and not only do you get to choose the design from these like little starter fairy wings to like big massive ones, some kind of spooky ones as well. Where are the ones I really like? I like these kind of like dragony style wings, and then you can actually go in and customize the colors on these if you want to. So if you want something that feels a little bit darker, a little bit spookier, it's really easy to just go ahead and do that. Another feature of this is that you can go into wing paint mode here, and you can actually go in and do kind of whatever design you want on here. So if I wanted to have something that felt a bit like tiger stripes, I could absolutely go ahead and kind of like start to do that. Another great feature is that it is mirrored. So if I paint on one side, it goes to the other as well. I can toggle that off if I just want to specifically make something that feels a little bit more chaotic, perhaps for your chaos gremlins. You know, if you want to do something that feels a little bit more like a chaotic scattered approach, you can absolutely do that. It's also both sides as well, so you paint the back and you can flip it around and paint the front. So yeah, you can really get quite creative with that and do whatever you want. He looks excited and nervous at the same time. I am not surprised. Another thing that you can do as well is actually have no wings. Now I was really excited for this because, like I say, Elco is a wood elf. He is not intended to be a fairy. I just wanted to be able to access the fairy powers, so I actually went ahead, and you can see that his fairy form does not have wings. Now, the way that I like to do this, like, even though, you know, it is something that I can never find the wings. Why do they hide the wings from me? Because I'm not in fairy form. That would be it. So they're under fairy form and then body. I do find the UI is a little bit, I'm finding it hard to get my head around where things are at this current time. Hopefully that's going to get easier for me. What I like to do, rather than having this no wings here, is I actually like to fully remove the wings, and I just feel a little bit more like I'm not going to see that sim flying around with no wings and things like that. So just letting you know that the way that I would say to do this is to give them wings and then click off the wings. That actually does give them no wings. I don't know. But it's really easy to do. If you also want to go into the paint mode a different way, you can also do it here. It's just below shoes, and that is another way to get into paint mode. You can also remove all the paint if you want to. I can't remember how though. Like this. So if you want to remove the paint, you click here, wing paint mode, and you just go like that and it takes it all off. A bit like the tattoo system. I think this is why it's like kind of confusing to get my head around, because I was looking for like a trash can like the other paint things in the game, and it's a different method. But I think once you've done it a few times, you'll get used to it and it'll be easy peasy. Okay, you can hang out there just in case I need to show off any other features, and let's jump into it. So we do get some updates to things like skin tones. Actually, I'll come back to skin tones. I'll talk about that later. So another thing that I really like is that we've got updates to eyes. So if I just click on his eyes here, you can see how pretty these are. These are actually available to human sims as well. You don't have to be a fairy to use these eyes. We get quite a big range of different eyes. Let me just kind of flick through and show you some of these. So these are really great. It just means that we've got like different options, different things to choose from. And also I'm so sick of using these like base game eyes. It's really nice to have a bit more variety, I think. So very happy to have more eyes. I hope they continue to add a few more eyes. Something else that I would love to see, and I will check when I get other packs installed, is I would love for them to take all the kind of assets from different occults and different life states and make them available within reason for all sims. So things like eye colors, I wish, like, I don't know, vampire eyes were available for fairies, and mermaid eyes or mermaid teeth were available for vampires and things like this, just so that we have more customization and more flexibility. So that is something I'm going to check when I get multiple packs installed, because I'd love to have more to choose from, and be able to create the creatures that I have in my own brain, and not kind of the creatures that the Sims team are telling me to create. Does that make sense? So yeah, you also, one thing that I have noticed that they've done is you now have access to these kind of elf ears in human form, because I believe previously that when we clicked on a human, the only ears we had access to were these kind of like rounded human shaped ears. So I'm actually really happy that these ears are available for all sims now. Well, I believe, again, I haven't got multiple packs installed currently, so it's something I'll check, but human sims can have these ears, which you can see here when I get to this sim. I've used that myself. So really love that. Another thing that I really love that they've added are this head accessories. So if you go to headwear now, we have this new category here, head decorations, and these are so cute. So I absolutely adore these like little horns. These are the antlers that he has. They're only tiny, they're only very small, but they're very cute. You can't wear a hat at the same time. If you put a hat on them, it will remove the head accessory. So they are technically a hat, but we have things like crown browns now. This is so pretty. I don't love every single color on this. We've got a good selection, but I think these kind of like more toned down colors are probably my favorite. But yeah, really, really nice. I like the kind of metal leaf design on that. This kind of flower crown, this thing here and this thing here. This is super cute as well. I actually really love this. Very, very cute. But this like head decoration, I adore it. It does mean that it will look better with some hairs than others. If you play around, you might find a few that look a bit weird, but for the most part, I like that we have the choice over whether or not we're going to apply those and what we think they look good with. You know, it's not kind of like telling us what to do. We do have this new little beard as well. We actually have two new beards. We have this gorgeous flowery beard. Sorry, you can probably hear my kid there blowing the nose. We have this like flowery beard, which is just, I love it so much. It's so cute. And then we have this kind of almost like goats, like a billy goat beard. I don't know kind of what you call them, but I think it really suits his face shape. I like that he's got these kind of like chubby cheeks with it. I've given him a very soft feminine face as well. He is, you know, he loves spending time with woodland creatures and giving them cuddles, so I wanted to give him a kind of soft cuddly look, and I think I've done that with the darker eyes just to kind of make him look a little bit more fey. Another thing that I really, really love is we've got these boots. Now they act as shoes, so they're not going to have them all the time. If they take the shoes off, they'll just have normal feet, but you can like put these on for swimwear and things like that if you want to as well. So yeah, I think they're great. I really, really love them. I think they're very comical but useful. So if you're creating kind of like a druid or a faun, fae type, what are they called? Like a satyr creature, you know, this is something that you can do. So while he's a wood elf, he has this kind of druidic satyr thing going on. I love this jumper. Now, I'm not going to go through every single cast item in this video because I think we'd be here all day, but I will point out some of the things that I really like. And this jumper is one of my favorite items. I think it comes in a really nice range of colors. The knit texture on it is very, very nice as well. I like that it has a bit of a kind of leaf design, but it's quite understated. It looks very wearable. It looks like something that most Sims could wear, you know, whether or not they're magical. And I just think it's really, really lovely. That color as well, that deep red, is very, very nice. You've got your classic black, your classic white. Really lovely jumper, and I think he looks super cuddly in it. Another thing I was really excited for are these gloves. Now, the reason why I'm so excited for these is because I feel like we haven't had like knitted gloves in the game, which is crazy. We've got all these different kind of like leather gloves or sports gloves, but like mittens and knitted gloves have been missing, I felt. So especially because we got like nifty knitting and things like this and cottage living seasons, I was like, where are my mittens? So finally to get these kind of like wool textured, I don't know why it's not zooming in on his hands, wool textured fingerless gloves. I think these are super duper cute. I know that I'm going to wear these all the time. They're just adorable. I've also given him like a bit of a manicure, just again to just make him look soft and gentle and approachable. You know, if he's out there trying to befriend a wounded deer, you know, he needs to look friendly. He doesn't want to look mean and scare them off. The jeans are actually base game jeans. These are the ones that were updated, like added in the recent update. They're actually female jeans. If I take off the masculine filter, you can see these here. So these are just base game. Everybody should have these in the game already. Yeah, I think they go really, really well with that top. There are some jeans that come with this pack. These ones. Now, my true feelings about this pack are the cast is a little bit over designed, a little bit cartoonish, and a little bit young for me personally, for my taste. That's not to say it's bad, it's just not my taste. Like, the approach that they've gone for is not the approach that I would have taken. I would have preferred something a little bit more like, I would have preferred a mix of kind of like something that feels a bit medieval, something that you feel like you would find in a fantasy game that's kind of a bit more realistic, along with a mix of kind of modern, maybe even like, I don't like the culture of this, but you know, like tradwife, the clothing that they wear, I think is very nice. There's a lot of cotton, there's a lot of linen, there's a lot of broderie anglaise, and kind of that kind of natural, pretty floral clothing that comes with that fashion trend, I think would have been appropriate for this pack, along with kind of like what you might find if you were looking at cosplay or Ren Fair clothing. I would have gone for a more kind of modern and realistic angle. The angle that they've gone for feels a little bit like Barbie Fairytopia to me, or kind of like a Disney Pixar type movie. It feels very, very bright, very young, which is not bad. It's just maybe not the approach that I would have personally preferred. So I do want to point out to you though that we get jeans like this. Now these are actually a really nice fit, and I can go through here and show you there are ones that feel a little bit more toned down. This I think is a very, very pretty design. I like how tonal it is. It's quite understated, and I feel like the pattern doesn't overwhelm the design on that one. That one's too bright for me personally. Maybe it could be good festival wear, I don't know. These ones are quite nice, so I do actually like them when I've kind of clicked through. And again, you get these ones where they've removed that design and you get something that feels a lot more wearable, a lot more understated, and I do actually quite like these colors. So yeah, I want to show you that there are swatches that are not quite so garish. I don't know why they've led with these really, really garish ones. I would have led with something more like that, but I don't know. The Sims team have a plan. I don't have to understand the plan. So I could have put these on him. I really like the loose baggy fit. I think I will actually end up using these jeans quite a lot. The problem is I think my brain mentally skips anything that's too garish. So I think I have to remember that there's like paler swatches on this. But I think I'm going to put him back into these jeans just because I think I like the fit better with that jumper. I probably would use the big baggy jeans with like a plain t-shirt or something like this. Actually, let me show you what I'm thinking with that while we're doing it. So this is kind of like a semi-cast review video. Again, I don't want to point every single thing out to you, but we can have a quick chat about a few things just as I'm kind of passing through. So something like this base game t-shirt, I think makes it look a little bit more wearable, perhaps a little bit more everyday. You know, if you're not interested in kind of like the fantasy aspect and you just want things that feel like, you know, you can put them on most Sims, I think a look like that could work really, really well. He is also, I'm going to point out, he's got a bit of a dad bod. He's a bit cuddly. I've made him quite muscular, but quite big. Again, with the idea of kind of, he might have to wrestle a few big animals. You know, maybe he needs to wrestle a bear every now and again. So I wanted to give him that kind of strong body look, and the kind of like dad bod as well. Like he could cuddle you and you would feel so safe. He's also pretty hairy because, I don't know, he hangs around with animals a lot. I don't know what my logic was there. So the aspiration that I've chose for him is Nature Nomad. So one of the features that come with this pack is that you can kind of live outside, that you don't have to, you know, rely on things like beds and showers and fridges for your comfort, but you can learn to live in harmony with nature. And so we also have like a skill that's called the natural living skill. So this means you can sleep on the ground, or like any sim as well. You don't have to be a fairy to do this. Previously this was something that only werewolves could really do without a sleeping bag, but now any sim can just lie down in the grass and get comfy. I'm interested to see how this plays with things like seasons. So are you going to freeze to death if you've got seasons, or will skilling up in this skill give you some protection against the elements? I think that's going to be interesting to test in terms of cross expansion pack features. Sorry, I talk too fast because I've got so much to say. I will try and slow down a little bit. So yeah, so you can also live off the land a little bit. You can forage for food, forage for ingredients and things to help with your apothecary skill. You can also shower in ponds and things like this. So I wanted him to have that kind of like wilderness survival aspect, since he's kind of like my wood elf, and also the elements to do with kind of like caring for animals and anything to do with like the well-being of the environment would go to him. I would say that other packs that I would really kind of use with him would be things like eco lifestyle and things like the green fiend, and you know, wanting to kind of like keep his environment clean and natural. So yeah, if you want him, he will be on the gallery when the pack is released. I'll give him a little bit of an update and just get that up there for you if you want to kind of adopt him, because I think he has such a cute face. He is very, very gentle by nature as well, so he's good, he's cheerful, and he loves the outdoors. In terms of his preferences, his likes and dislikes, I went and ahead and gave him the new skill preference for natural living. You can also see here as well, apothecary is also available here. Are there any new music? I didn't think to check that yet. Nature soundscapes. Let's give him a preference for nature soundscapes as well. That's a new music channel in the game. He loves it. Okay, so next up, and again, just to show you, he's got his fairy form, but it's the same because he's intended to be an elf, not a fairy in my mind. The next sim I have to show you who is not a fairy but is going to use the features from this pack is Elvador Tincture. So she is intended to be a drow. Now if you play D&D or Baldur's Gate, you might be aware that drows are one of my favourite races in that game, and they're basically a dark elf. They live underground in kind of cave systems, and they're normally quite evil. Not all of them, but they do lean towards like being an evil monster in the game, and they're normally very, very intelligent. They kind of act like spies and assassins and things like this, and they're just a really cool version of an elf. And Elvador, she is not as evil as the other drow. She kind of does her own thing, so she's not loyal to the spider goddess Lolth like most drow are. She's also not following any of the good drow goddesses like Elistere or Veyrune or anything like this. She's kind of broken off from drow society to pursue her own interests. She doesn't perceive herself as evil, but she does have a few evil tendencies. You can see she has got the evil trait. She doesn't see it as evil, a bit like Minthara in Baldur's Gate. She kind of sees it as the things she does as a necessity, the things she does as for the greater good. And so she is actually going to be playing with the apothecary skill in the game. If I had all packs installed, I'd consider making her maybe a spellcaster, because with the idea of her being a drow sorcerer, or even something like a drow artificer or something like this. So she's going to be making a lot of tinctures, a lot of medicine. She is very, very motivated with this elixir enthusiast, which is like the knowledge aspiration, to find out everything she can about the apothecary skill. So she does have the intention to make cures and elixirs from plant-based ingredients, like it says, that is actually going to be of a great benefit to the world and to the people that she deems as worthy of having that medicine. So the bad thing is that she does sometimes test it on Sims. So she might sometimes, maybe create a situation where a Sim is going to get ill so that she can test her cures. So she's not entirely a moral character, but she doesn't perceive herself as evil. She perceives herself as doing something really important for the greater good, but it comes across to others as evil, is how I would explain that. She also has one of the new traits, which is mystical. So if I go over here, it's under lifestyle traits, and it says feeling a strong affinity for both the natural and supernatural, mystical Sims see a higher purpose in living harmoniously in each world and sharing that with other Sims. The Sims learn apothecary and gardening skills faster and have an easier time building friendships with occult Sims. Mystical Sims can offer to grant a sacred blessing to other Sims, which increases balance for other Sims if accepted. So this does align to be a little bit good, but I wanted her to have this because it means that she's going to learn the apothecary skill faster, and she's the Sim that I want to test that with. It does mean that she's vetoed from having Disruptive, but that's okay. I wanted to use that on another Sim anyway, which is why I gave her Evil. She's also a bookworm because, again, her main motivation is her intelligence and her learning. So a little bit like a wizard, they really, really book smart and they want to kind of learn everything they can. So yeah, maybe she's a wizard. Again, I'd love to make her a spellcaster. I didn't really want to make every single Sim a fairy. I wanted to kind of like do different things with it. So when I get all the packs installed, spellcaster it is for Elvador. She also has the preference for apothecary. So yeah, excited for her to be... I kind of was going to originally go for kind of like a swamp witch, like a hag type thing. But then I kind of like had the idea of making her this kind of like drow sorceress. A little bit, again, like if you've played Baldur's Gate, there's a drow that kind of does a lot of like blood magic and things like this, so that sort of thing. But I love her. Let me just zoom in on her face as well. She's super cute. I love this new hairstyle that we have. Really, really pretty. It also comes in this version that has kind of like glittery threads worked through as well, so that is absolutely gorgeous on her. Her eye makeup is also new. I really, really actually like the way I've done this. So if I just kind of show you, it's quite heavy, it's quite dark, this eye makeup, and I've kind of messed with the hue and the opacity and saturation to make it look a little bit more faded, a little bit more grey, and I think a bit more subtle, and I think it really suits her. Her lipstick is just this MAC lipstick, and I really like the way she looks. She definitely looks a bit gothic. She's also got these really nice new eyes. These are probably one of my favourite of the new eyes, this kind of like really dark red colour, because we had this red before, but I think this one feels a little bit more like it has more depth, it has more interest to it. It's a really nice red. So I love those as well for Drow, because Drows traditionally have red eyes, and I think she's fab. Drow tend to also have white hair, so you could go ahead and do that if you wanted to. I like the black on her, so I left that. This new choker is very pretty as well. Let me go up here and show you some of the new necklaces that you get. So you get a few different things, like this beaded one, this key, which is really cute, but this choker I thought really suited her. It's very pretty. That's probably my favorite choker in the game. Look at that clasp on the back as well. Super pretty. Like, she is going to be seducing some unwilling participants in her apothecary testing. Like, she's gonna lure people to the swamp in order to kind of like make them sick and then kind of make them pay for the cure, I think is her whole MO. This dress is stunning. The gloves are actually kind of like a separate entity to the dress. Let me just clip over here so you can see. So the gloves are these ones here. They are very nice. I really like how they go over the finger like that. I would say that the top of the gloves it has quite a strong design. I would have really liked a few more swatches that kind of just cut off and had a simple top, just because I think with that having a lot of detail to it, it can be a bit visually overwhelming depending on what you're putting it with. So I would have really liked just kind of like, you know, if it just went up to this line here and then this bit was cut off, just a few additional swatches just to have a more simple version, I think could have been really useful. But it's very cool, and I do actually really like the design. I'll just show you as well. You get it in a few different colors. I'm probably mostly going to be using just like the black one. I think that's going to be the most versatile. This dress is absolutely stunning. Again, one of my criticisms of this pack is that it's kind of like they've done all the things all at once on each item. They're a bit over fussy for me, a bit over designed. I would have appreciated just toning it back a little bit, like simplifying a tiny bit, generally speaking, because I think, again, visually it's just a bit too much. However, I do think this dress in particular is particularly stunning. I love this leaf design. I think it's the way it fits the body, the way these leaves are positioned, I think is very elegant and flattering. I do really love this embroidery, kind of almost like metalwork embroidery design. I don't know what you'd call that, but I love, can you see how like when I spin the camera it's really standing out, it's like really shining. I think that is absolutely gorgeous. She has this stunning belt on. Again, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, there's a lot going on there, because this belt also has these kind of little drops, and you've got the embroidery up here as well. So a lot going on with this dress, but it is one of my favorite items. You can just see as well, I think this one is more pleasing to the eye for me because it's quite tonal. Some of the others where they've gone for a lot of different colors, I find that more ugly because there's too many colors going on and it kind of clashes. That one's quite pretty, I guess. It's quite tonal. I wouldn't have gone for these specific swatches, I don't think. I would have gone for something where I would have gone for more natural colors or more tonal colors, personally speaking. Like, I love that green. I would have perhaps given it kind of like a white instead of that yucky yellow color, or maybe even a brown, just because personally I find some of the color swatches a bit ick, to be honest. That one's quite nice, again, because it's more tonal. Just a general criticism of this pack is that I wish they'd reduced the clashy cartooniness of the colors and just toned everything down a tiny bit. I think sometimes less is more, but yeah, I do really like this. I think she looks stunning. And going through to Munch Crunch, I have such a soft spot in my heart for the Sim. He is the sweetest little guy. So he is intended to be a half orc. And now this is where I'm going to have one of my other criticisms. When I talk about skin tones in this pack. So I don't want him to currently be, hang on, let me talk about him a little bit first. So Munch Crunch is, he's a half orc. Now half orcs are like half human, half like monster basically, and so you can see he's got this big jutting out jaw. Normally orcs will have jutting front teeth, a bit like a boar. It's like at the bottom, like tusks, but his tusks never came through. Unfortunately, he did get that jawline. I'm really happy with how he looks, because although he looks almost like cartoonish, and he definitely, he's not traditionally handsome, let's say. I think he is a very, very cute looking half orc. I think I've done a really good job of making him look soft and gentle and approachable and quite attractive, even though he's not conventionally attractive. So with that, he is a bit simple. He is a bit of a practical, uncomplicated guy, right? He's not the smartest creature in the room, and he loves plants. His whole thing is that he's going to be the plant lover, and so he loves just plants and like bees and like insects and things like this, and he's very gentle, he's very nurturing, and so he hasn't got some of those more violent tendencies that the orcs would traditionally have, and so he's actually considered very, very, very attractive for a half orc. A lot of the lady half orcs are actually really interested in him because he is so soft and gentle and actually quite handsome in their eyes, and he's one of my favorite Sims I've ever made. I'm gonna be honest. I think he's just so cute. I gave him these really big, gentle looking eyes. He's kind of like a gentle giant. These are just base game eyes, but there's such a pretty color on him. He's even got like a little like looky like a looky earring. What do you call these? Like a looky four-leaf clover that he's just kind of like popped up like into his ear there. He's just so sweet. He's also got this like really gorgeous like flower crown, just to go down here. This is available for female and male Sims. Of course you can take off the tab, but I really, really like that. I really like this kind of gentle giant guy that I've created. He does have quite a dad bod. He is a bigger guy, and he's got a big tummy because he's got to eat all that fruit and vegetables and things that he's been growing. He's got to put it somewhere, and again I think he'd be really nice to have with like eco lifestyle features. I could definitely see him using like, is it like green thumb or something like that from Eco Lifestyle, yeah, just really, really enjoying kind of all the new house plants that come in this pack, and like growing all the different plants that can be used in apothecary. He actually is going to live with Elvadora, and Elvadora being a little bit more of an maybe not an entirely moral character, definitely uses Munch Crunch as a test subject. He is very willing to do so though, because he does really want to help people, and he has a strong constitution, and he's able to kind of like deal with a lot of those kind of diseases that that Elvador is testing on him, and so he does really want to be that kind of bunny rabbit for her, because he knows that she's going to help a lot of people when she's developed those cures. So he's absolutely the most adorable, sweet creature. And I love the dynamic between those two. He's just so sweet. Also, I believe there's some gameplay related to plant sims in this pack, so I wanted him to explore that, potentially to become a plant sim himself. Alternatively, he definitely wants to befriend a lot of the fairies who are going to help him with his gardening, and potentially eventually become a fairy too, because they get a lot of spells that help with gardening. So I kind of wanted to explore that, but starting as a normal sim and kind of like seeing what gameplay works towards becoming a fairy or becoming a plant sim. And so he has these really adorable little dungarees on, and it just looks so cute on him. Again, I prefer the kind of like more simple toned down styles. So I really like this kind of cream color. You do get some of the like brighter ones as well, but yeah, it's just, this is a cute item. I could have done, I probably prefer it without that design on the bottom. I really like it on the top here on the braces. I think it's a bit much when you have it kind of on the bottom as well, personally, but it's okay. It's not one of the most overwhelming designs in the pack, and I actually do really like this style. I like that it doesn't have a top underneath it as well. It just makes it feel a little bit different from the existing dungarees that we have in the game, and I think it just looks really simple and sweet on him. He has these kind of like base game what they call sandals on as well. I did actually consider putting these socks on him. So we have these kind of like flower socks, which are just so adorable. I love these so much. One of my favorite items. I think this will go really well with like cottage living and kind of like cutesy homely styles. It'd be really cool if we can knit these, if we have nifty knitting. That's a cross expansion feature that I'm probably going to have to check out later. But yeah, he's really sweet. I really like him. Moving swiftly on. Oh, I should probably tell you all his different things. So he's just a freelance botanist. This is one of the expansions that already comes with the base game, but he does have the new trait plant lover. So if I go over here, it says plant lovers treat each other and every plant like the little sim they are. Being a friend to plants is not always easy on a plant lover's emotions, but luckily these sims don't need any skill to share with their special interest, just a big heart. So yeah, he's really going to bond with the plants and kind of commune with nature. So we did see him as a half orc, and I did see him as a druid as his class if this was a D&D character. He's also a bit of a slob. He doesn't worry too much about dirty surroundings. My idea here with this was the idea that he understands like things like compost. So again, eco lifestyle would be a great complement to this. If you do happen to be buying any other packs, not that I'm kind of telling you that you have to, I'm just talking about like the way that I'm going to play things when I get this into my own save, and the things that I want to see, like the way that I see myself using other packs and kind of using that cross-expansion pack compatibility. So if you also want to buy any other complimentary packs and you do happen to be buying anything on the EA app, you can use my creator code Cinderellimouse. It does mean that EA send a little bit of money my way, so if you want to help me out, just buy me a coffee, just inputting my code there is going to be a great way to support me. So thank you so much to those of you who do that. Yeah, so eco lifestyle is something that I can see myself using a lot alongside this. So yeah, I could see him using things like, reduce and recycle, or, composting and things like this is something that I think he would particularly be interested in. Loyal sims value their relationship. Oh, we also see him as being very friendly with Elco. I feel like they spend a lot of time in the woods together, foraging and, looking at all the different plants. I also see them doing things like herbalism from Granite Falls, and so yeah, they are kind of like best friends. They go on a lot of kind of like woodland walks together, and I see him as getting like a lot of like horse manure and things like that off Elco. Like they help each other out, and he's loyal as well. So in my head I was like, if a gnome is bothering his friends, he will throw a gnome for them. He'll toss a gnome for his friends, And so, yeah, he's very loyal. He's very protective over that kind of like group of people that he has a bond with, and those plants that he has a bond with. So again, he's another protector of nature. Again, eco lifestyle could be really great for them. Brianna Black. Let's talk about Brianna Black for a second. Brianna Black is a classic fairy. I wanted to do a fairy with a bit of a twist. So she is a bit mischievous. She looks very sweet. So she's going to live in kind of like the normal village in Innisbrook, and she's just going to go around looking like a regular sim. However, if you know anything about Fae in D&D, they tend to have their own rules. They tend to be quite chaotic, and so they're very unpredictable, they're very chaotic, and they're very mischievous. Not because they're mean or cruel, but because they find it funny and they just don't live by the laws of human society. They've got their own, because they're so magical, everything is constantly in flux, and they embrace that. So this kind of chaotic energy that she has is definitely waiting to burst out. So as such, I did make her erratic. I've also made her childish, and I've given her the new trait Disruptive. So this says she's very mischievous. Disruptive Sims are driven to interact with the world by messing with it. They can spread interpersonal chaos by giving bad balance advice or stick it to nature by disrupting plants. Disruptive Sims could build mischief skill faster, but are slower to regain balance than most Sims. So I wanted her to kind of look at the mischievous ways that a fairy can play, whether or not she can make people diseased, whether she can blight plants, and basically cause trouble for her own amusement. So she actually does have fairy stories. This says these Sims seem to leave a big impact for good or bad. Relationship fluctuations are bigger when socializing with fairy Sims and gnomes, for better or for worse. So yeah, she's definitely going to be just shaking things up a little bit in my game and exploring those kind of mischief features. So she does have a preference for mischief. Going down here, you can actually see her fairy form. She changes quite a lot between her human social accepted personality and face, that masking that she's going to do, and her true nature, which is definitely a bit more evil. So again, I want to show something a little bit different here, because a lot of the fairy stuff is quite bright. If you look at these, they're kind of quite bright, quite girly, and I wanted to kind of toughen things up a little bit. So she has these really cool boots on. So again, you get these kind of classic, sorry, she's got the socks on underneath there, just ignore that. You get these kind of classic fairy style, but there's no reason why a fairy can't wear really cool boots. I love this boot design. I think they're very modern, very trendy, really, really nice. She also has these stunning fairy wings. Now I customized the color of these. I've made them kind of all black, so it's this kind of design here. If I go on it, is it gonna revert? So these are kind of like the dragon wings. They look a little bit like they've got holes in. They look a little bit rough around the edges, a little bit like she's been dragged through a hedge, and this kind of twisted design here. So one thing you can also do with these is you could also go for a brown and kind of leafy look if you wanted to do something that felt a bit more, sorry, let me just go on there. So if you wanted to do something that felt a bit more appropriate for kind of dryads or leaf fairies, you could do something that felt a little bit more like a leaf, like a tree, I suppose, if you wanted to do something like that. But the design I went for is this kind of black veiny wing, because again, she's kind of quite chaotic. She does have some of the new face paint on that comes in the game. So if we go down here, we can see under face paint, you get a few different designs. So there's this really, really pretty kind of fairy wing design. I think that also suits her really, really nicely. I really like this kind of black line design. There's this one that kind of would look really lovely for festivals. If you were into wellness or something like that, and you wanted to kind of go to a music festival, you could have something like that. And also this kind of starry sky design, which is the one that I kind of gave her just because I kind of like this smudgy look, and I've kind of customized the colors on that as well. You can just play around with the sliders and create kind of whatever color palette you want for that. And she's also got these dramatic lips and dramatic eyes and things like that. There are some new colors for eyelashes, so just kind of show you through here. There's some kind of multicolor updates for the base game eyelashes, but I just went for full black on her. This dress is actually really stunning. Again, this is probably one of my favorite items in the game. Yeah, definitely feels very Barbie to me, but it's cool. It's a really cool design. And it feels like it's not too much. It makes a statement without feeling like there's too many things going on with it. It's a simple, dramatic, effective look. So I really, really like that one. Jumping over to Hope Grounding. So she is actually a tiefling. So her race would be tiefling and her class would be... Actually, did I think about a class for her? What was the class that I was going to go for her? She's going to be doing a lot of wellness. So I really want to use Spa Day with the meditation and the yoga, because the new pack has this whole thing about emotional balance. You can be imbalanced and you can be balanced, and you know, different things will affect kind of like how emotionally balanced you are. So I wanted to see if spa day would help with like grounding, you know, meditation could help with balance. And so I really saw her as being kind of like a yoga instructor, and to go around and play with these emotion features that now come with this pack. I believe fairies can do a lot to manipulate people's emotions, but I wanted to see what we could do without being a fairy. So again, she may become a fairy in order to be able to help people and do her kind of wellness practices more effectively along the way, but currently tiefling. Now tieflings kind of get a bad rap because they kind of look quite scary. They look like devils, right? They have these kind of horns, which again, I love the horns in this pack so much. I can finally make Karlak, guys. So she has these horns, and they have this, sometimes have red skin, sometimes they have like blue skin and things like this, but yeah, they kind of look devilish. They like, she has these really like fiery eyes as well, which are also new. Let me show you here. It's these like orangey ones. And this hair as well is absolutely stunning. Let me just show you. This also has like the threads going through it if you want that design. I wish these were gold. I think it would suit her so much better, but she just has this hairstyle. So yeah, she's a bit of a hippie. She's a bit crunchy. You know, I think she definitely spends a lot of time at like music festivals and kind of like, she'd go to Glastonbury, you know? You would definitely see her like dancing around at Glastonbury, maybe sharing a few herbal remedies, maybe chilling out, maybe listening to some music, some trance music, and just really getting into the zone and kind of like spreading that awareness of balance and friendship to other Sims. This design as well, this shirt is actually tagged as masculine, but I think it looks great on her. I really like the design of this. Like, I really like this stag. I wish this stag was on more of the swatches, but you get a few different designs, a few different looks. Again, this kind of like green swampy is good. I do find this problem a lot of the time with green swatches in the game currently, where it has this kind of pixelated effect. So it is a bug. I'll feed that back to the team and hopefully they can get that fixed ASAP. I've noticed it quite a lot with packs recently, which is a shame because I really love this kind of almost military green, like this khaki green. So I hope they continue to use that color despite it having a few problems. But yeah, I went for this black design for her. She's also got those new mittens on, and then this really cool kilt, which comes in a few different check versions. I really love the design of this. It's kind of like a long kilt. Again, I feel like this could be really cute if you had like cottage living and you wanted someone in that pack to have it. Also a few kind of like flowery prints. I really like that flowery print. I feel like that print is in businesses and hobbies. Is it not? Is it on some furniture and some wallpaper? It definitely reminds me of it. It's a similar style, but I actually really love that print, so I'm happy to see it used again. I'm not a huge fan of like dip dye in the game, but it's fine. Again, a floral design, so that would be really cute for like grandma Sims. This one's really pretty as well. And then some plainer swatches as well if you wanted those. So I really like this kilt design on her, especially with those big boots. I think she looks really kind of like crunchy, kind of like rock and roll. I think she looks really cool. I don't know what style you'd say. Maybe grunge? Do you think she's grunge? I don't know. I think she looks great. So she's Hope Grounding. Tieflings often have names that indicate, how would I explain that? Like some kind of intent or some kind of aspiration. So I thought Hope was really nice for her. And then Grounding, because she likes to get grounded, you know, ground her energy. She has one of the new aspirations. She has Nature Nomad. Elco also had this. It says these Sims embrace natural living and enjoy fulfilling every need in the great outdoors. Again, if she's going to a lot of like Glastonbury style music festivals, I figured you know, she might have to pee in a bush occasionally, or like have a little bathe in a river just to kind of like wash a bit of that extra stink off. So I figured this really suited her as well. She loves the outdoors, mystical, which again is one of the new traits, and vegetarian. And again, I think eco lifestyle could work really well with her as well. Jumping over to Calypso Waters. Can you guess what my intentions are with Calypso Waters just by her name? Oh, I should show you as well, Hope Grounding. She has the activity for fitness in lieu of getting Spa Day installed, because I would like to have a preference for wellness. Calypso Waters is, I don't know, place your bets now. I see her as a siren. If I had Island Living installed, I would consider making her a mermaid. She's definitely got Lady of the Lake kind of vibes, but in an evil fae way. So she is a temptress. So if you think about classic sirens, now sirens actually were bird women. So I'm going with the modern usage of the term siren, where, you know, people think of like a mermaid. So like a nymph siren is what she would be. So she definitely lures people into the water. Get in the water. And yeah, she's she has a little bit of mischief with them. So if I had Love Struck installed, I would definitely use her as a kind of like siren, love doctor, emotional manipulator. She is a fairy, although again, I'm not using her as a fairy. I just want her to be able to access the powers. So her fairy form is actually this kind of like siren swamp lady form. She looks absolutely stunning. So let me show you her face kind of normally. I have made her look a little bit shiny, a little bit mermaidish. She's got this fabulous like wet look hair, which is one of the new hairs in this pack. And again, one of these like new head wrap things, these hair accessories. So I think she looks absolutely gorgeous. She also has new eyes. This is one of the clothing that I don't like as much. It feels very dated to me. This kind of like, I don't think I liked this when it was in fashion, this trend, but very circa 2000, it feels a bit Britney. But I managed to match it with these kind of base game shorts. Like the colour goes quite well, I think. And I think she looks quite good in it. Like, there's a vision there, you know. But yeah, her fairy form, the way that she looks really kind of like wet and shiny is one of the new features in this pack. So if I go down to body accessories, it takes me a while to find this each time, because in my head I feel like it should be under kind of like body, like tattoos and things like that, but it's actually under accessories because it's kind of like a shine effect. So it's this confuses me a little bit, this skin effect, because I feel like I would have expected them to do body glitter, right? With this kind of like shiny skin overlay, like full body skin overlay. My assumption was glitter. And so I think they could have done some really cool kind of like glitter designs for the full body. It would have been really good for like festivals and things like that, not just fairies. And I also think they could have done stuff where here they've gone for this, like, we only get one. Like, why do we only get one? It makes me wonder if this is going to be some kind of like base game update in the future, or if there's just like maybe some assets that still aren't in the pack, because I'm like, why is there just one? And why is it this weird, like, it's kind of like an all over shine effect. It almost looks kind of plasticky, where I think they could have been really clever with it and kind of put like you know, almost like droplets of water, or, you know, put shine in really specific places. For example, like on collarbones, to give kind of more like an oil, like a, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I know people, what's that word that I see on TikTok where people put loads of moisturizer on? It's like dowsing or something like that, but I can't remember. It's like shedding or dowsing, but I can't remember the word for it. But they like slathering moisturizer onto the skin, and they look really, really kind of like wet and shiny. And so it works for that. But I think normally when you go out, like, you know, you put body glitter in certain places. So you might put it on your collarbone, you might put it on the tops of your arms, you know, maybe your shins, so that you have that shining kind of like targeted areas. So I'm disappointed. I like it. I like the idea of it, but I'm really disappointed that they didn't take this further, because, you know, we get so many different wings, and I'm like, we could have had about, say, 8 different body glitters and body shines, and it just feels like a huge missed opportunity that we only have one. So again, I'm wondering if this is intended to be a future base game update rather than something that's specific to the fairy expansion pack. But I feel like this is going to be one of those wait and see moments. Like, it's there now, right? We've got the category. What would be the point of just having one thing in it? It just feels like there's more to come, you know? So, yeah, but I do like this kind of like... And again, they could have like done it in a way where there's water, but it has like a ripple shine effect. So it kind of looks like, you know, or like water, but in patches. So it looks really like swampy. I'm confused about this feature. Like, I want more, you know? But yeah, so she is designed definitely to be potentially a mermaid when we get like all the packs installed. But for now, with her being a fairy, the intention is for her to use a lot of the emotional manipulation features of a fairy. Because when I look at the actual fairy skill tree, which actually, do you know what? I'll go ahead and show you. Actually, before I delete him, a couple more things that I want to talk about before we exit cast. I think I've shown you most of my favourite things now. But if we just age this one down to a child, yeah, children can't be fairies. And this is something as well, like I always complain that children and toddlers and babies need more occult features if they're a child of an occult. So things like, I don't know, they should sneeze sparkles. I haven't done a lot of the gameplay yet, so I don't know what is and isn't included, but like of all the occults that they could have like given more to, I feel like fairies should have been it, because you know there's so much lore and like reasons why like fairies should be young. You know, fairies are often portrayed as being very childlike or even actually children, and there's the whole thing about fairies taking changelings, right, stealing babies to make them into fairies. And so the idea that they haven't given fairy form to children is crazy to me. You can see that he is a fairy, but it's that thing that they do where it's kind of like, oh, the fairy features don't show up until they're a teenager. They don't get the wings until they're a teenager, which I think is really disappointing. However, if you do want to have wings, that is like a fairy top. So if I show you here, there's this kind of like fairy outfit, which is very, very cool if you want to tell a story of like maybe a kid who's really into fairies and then they actually discover that fairies are real and then they become a fairy themselves. So there is storytelling potential. I do like these little fairy wings that they've added. However, I think they should have had it so that we could have actual wings on children. I feel like it's a real big missed opportunity that they didn't do that. And just to kind of show you as well, there are some really, really cute clothing for different ages. So this is really, really cute. It's kind of like butterfly wings on the sleeves. I kind of wish like the children's clothing was available for adults in a way. This dress is very pretty as well, with this almost like flower petal tutu over the top. I can't speak anymore, it's been a long video. Again, very cute, very realistic. Like you definitely see children wearing outfits like that. Very, very sweet. Yeah, that looks like pretty much it for children. Oh, some new sandals. They're very cute. I like those a lot. Are they new? Yeah, they are. And jumping over to her hair as well, you do get quite a few different new hairstyles for children. So this one, which is so cute, I love that so much. This curly hair is really gorgeous as well. You know, these hairstyles. So I'm glad that they've made the hairstyles available for children. I think that's pretty cool. So have a quick look at accessories, just see if there's anything in there that I'm missing. I don't think so. Any hats? So children, unfortunately, also don't have that flower crown category, which again, I think is a bit of a missed opportunity. Would have really liked more for children. I don't think there's any new aspirations either. Again, like a specific interest in fairies could have gone a long way. Any new traits? There's probably hidden traits for, you know, if you are the child of, oh, you can be a plant lover. Okay, I'd be interested to see if children can actually do gardening with that, like I would expect. But apart from that, that's all children are getting. Again, missed opportunity. I think they could have done more for children because fairies and children go hand in hand, I think. Let's just age it down a little bit. Just see what's available for toddlers, because I don't want to kind of skip too much. I do want to kind of show you. Again, you get like the little wings on there. Very, very cute. So you do get some cute clothing. Yeah. I like them. I'm happy. I like these a lot. I sound a bit more down about this than I actually am. It's just because I wish they'd done it a little bit more. That's my thing with this. Any new hairstyles? Oh, you get that. That's cute. Because that's really cute. Because it looks like she's living a little bit wild, you know, and like she's just come out of like a tree house, or she's been playing in the bushes and she's got all like leaves stuck in her hair. That is actually really adorable. I like that so much. Let's just go down again to infants just to kind of check in and see if they're getting anything new. No new hairs. Oh, a cute little hat. That's adorable. It's kind of like the top of a strawberry or like a tulip placed on the head. Very, very cute. So the cast is gorgeous for children. you know, I just wish that they'd been a bit more fairy content for children. Again, I haven't got into the gameplay very deeply yet, so maybe there's stuff that you come across kind of as you play. Again, the idea of like fairy sneezing glitter and things like that, like, would be very, very cute. So yeah, it's just something that we're gonna have to explore kind of through gameplay. But the clothing's cute, I'll give them that. Okay, so again, just before we finish up here, I kind of wanted to show you some of the fairy abilities here. Look at this UI, it's so cute. So I think the one thing that's missing is like bladder. For some reason, fairies don't have to pee. I don't understand why, but fair enough. Maybe they pee glitter, I don't know. They just kind of like fart out glitter, and that's fine. But if I just go to fairy abilities quickly, we can just have a look at like some of the ideas. So the reason why I went for emotion for this sim here is because there's a whole emotion category. Again, I've got a sim specifically looking at plants and nature. Manipulation is kind of my chaos fairy, and then you have like good and evil roots here as well, about because fairies need to gain emotional force, and so you can do that through any kind of fairy socialization and certain like interactions, and so you can decide if you get like more of that through doing bad interactions or more of that through doing good interactions. You can see these two getting on really, really well already. So yeah, that is my D&D Sims. Let me know what you think. I am so excited to get all the packs installed and get all my occults in, because I think I'm going to be able to create some really interesting looking spellcasters and even vampires. Some things that I wish, like, and I don't know because I haven't got all packs installed yet, but things like wings, I think they could have given us a bit more variety. So not just fairy wings, but had they given us like big bat wings, like big leather bat wings, that would have been really cool for vampires, you know? Or if they'd given us like feather wings, you know, with the idea of it being like a bird fairy, you know, that could have been like angel wings. So I wish we had more variety of wings, not just fairy wings, because I think we could have made some really, really cool characters with that. But I'm excited for certain things like the little horns. Again, I'm wondering can I put horns on a vampire? Can I put horns on a mermaid for some reason? I don't know. It'd be cool if we had like unicorn horns, wouldn't it? Like unicorn horns for mermaids, a bit like a manatee. You know, can I use the new eye colors? Like those kind of fiery eyes could be really cool on like a werewolf, for example. So yeah, I'm really curious. The new skin tones as well. Oh, something I wanted to talk about the new skin tones. Let me just show you a quick trick here. Modifying cast. So one thing I wanted to point out about the new skin tones, if I go into create a sim, hang on, how do I explain this? So if I go to fairy and go to his fairy form, there's some new skin tones, like fantasy skin tones. So I have a lot of thoughts about this. So all sims have these ones here, along this line here, which I have always wanted more skin tones. I'm going to pop up a little clip of Baldur's Gate here, and just the way they handle skin tones. There are so many, and a lot of them are kind of like dusky looking or kind of like tonal looking, and I really love the skin tones of that game. So after playing that game, I've come to The Sims, and I'm really frustrated because I love that they updated what we had originally when we first got the game to include all these realistic skin colors. Like we've got so many more options now, especially like with the skin tone slider. However, if you're making fantasy sims and you want kind of interesting skin tones, to only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to choose from up until this point has really felt very, very restricted and like a huge missed opportunity. So I was really excited to see that they've added 1, 2, so it'll be 18, won't it? 18 new ones, because I was like, well, we really, really needed this. However, my problem with the base game skin tones is they're very, very garish and very cartoonish, especially the 3 actual colors we get, because these are all like shades of gray. I think we probably got those with vampires or something. So these 3 garish, bright, almost primary style colors were not what I was looking for. I really wanted things that felt more tonal. And so we have got more colors to choose from, which is amazing. So we now have these like purple colors, we have pinks, we have oranges. These are great. I would have really liked some more. And this red is so much better than that red. Like, look at that kind of like tomato color compared to this new kind of like deep kind of devil red. So much nicer. So I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful that we have more skin tones. I just would have liked them to have done more. I would like as many fantasy skin tones as there are in one of these sections. So as many cool skin tones there should be as many fantasy skin tones, at least, you know? So yeah, I also think they could have done more in terms of adding more definition. So rather than just being kind of like one all over color, we could have had somewhere, you know, maybe you could see the veins on the side of the head for like if they're like vampire-ish or something like that. I just think they could have done a bit more, maybe some bags under the eyes, maybe some blotting. Another pack I'm really excited to get my hands on, as well as like the other occult packs, is businesses and hobbies, because I want access to that tattoo feature so that I can create my own custom skin tones. So I have a video about this somewhere where I create a drow skin tone, if you want to go and watch that. And so I'm really excited to kind of see what custom characters I can make when I get all the packs installed, like how much variety is there. So anyway, I wish they'd pushed the boat out a bit further with this. I wish they'd done a bit more. Now the problem is when you switch to, when you don't have a fairy and you go to the skin tones, those new options are not there, which concerns me, because I would have liked those new options for vampires. You know, this red skin tone on a vampire could be really cool. Or maybe I want to make a purple spellcaster, right? Are these skin tones going to be available for them? It worries me that they're not available for humans. Now, a trick that I found with this is if you very easily in CAS, you can turn your sim into a fairy, right? Just by clicking on this. And so even if you don't want a fairy, but you do want a skin tone. So say I want a spellcaster that's purple. I can go here currently, and again, I feel like this is a bug, so I don't know if this will be in the full release version of the game, but I wanted to show you this. This is my genuine thing about like what I found with the pack at this point. So I wanted to kind of explain this to you. So say I want like a purple spellcaster. I can go ahead and do this. I think maybe that one, but darker. Yeah, something like that, right? And it actually, can you see, if I've got the link and I change it for the fairy, it's actually putting it on the human form as well. So I don't want a fairy, right? I want a spellcaster. So if I go in here and I take off the fairy form, the skin color still remains. So I don't know why it's not on his legs though. What is that about? Wait, what? Oh, there you go. He just had weird tights on. So that is a bit of a hack that I found currently with this version of the game that hopefully we can still do with the full release. I have reported it as a bug to the Sims team, but I said I actually like that I can do this. Could you please make the skin tones available for all Sims? So fingers crossed they will do that. But yeah, that's the hack I used to give Hope this really cool dark red skin color, because she's not a fairy. So I created her as a fairy, applied the skin tone as a fairy with the linked form, and then I took off the fairy form and I was able to use that red skin color. So again, I would love for the Sims team to definitely think about opening up that toolbox of different assets for occult sims from all different packs, and to be able to use them in any way that we want for whoever we want, right? Maybe aliens might like to have a different skin color. Maybe my vampires want to be this dark red. Can I put horns on a vampire? So I really would love more flexibility. A little bit like what they've done with the ears, where they've made the elf ears available for all sims. Because again, maybe I don't want a fairy, but maybe I want a drow. So I want to be able to put the elf ears on my drow, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, I appreciate that. I would love for them to continue like doing that further. I'm excited that we can, like, the new eyes that they've added are available for human sims as well, because hopefully that means that's going to be available for all sims, because again, having a vampire with eyes like that could be really cool. You know, creating a spellcaster with bug eyes could be really cool. So again, I hope that we have that flexibility there. So watch out for my cross expansion pack videos. I will get those up as soon as I'm able. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to say. So one last thing I wanted to say was I was really, really hoping for more plant sim updates and integration with this pack. I believe that they have done some updates to plant sims and there's some gameplay around them that I haven't fully explored yet. What I was expecting was that we would be able to make plant sims as like in casts. I was hoping that we'd be able to create them as a permanent life state. So I don't know what they've done with it and what they haven't done with it yet, but I am disappointed that I can't just click on this and make a plant sim at this point. So yeah, that's something else that I would kind of criticize about this pack. So again, like, I'm really, really happy for people who wanted fairies, because I know there's been a really loud group of people who've been like, gimme fairies. I would have preferred, with it being an expansion pack, to have a more broad type of fae creature that we could make. Again, I feel like I've done pretty well, because what have I got here? I've got, like, you know, a wood elf, a drow, a druid, an actual fairy. I've kind of created a tiefling. I've created like a siren dryad. So yeah, I have been more flexible than I thought I was going to be with this. However, I just wish that they'd added like the plant sims, maybe even genies, you know. I think that would have been more worthy of an expansion pack, in my opinion. Like, again, that's just personal choice though. That's why I'm personally disappointed. I bet the fairy crowd are absolutely loving this. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you my perspective. And again, let's just zoom in and kind of show everybody's faces. All these sims will be on the gallery kind of when I can access the gallery. You can see currently I'm blocked from that, with it being early access. And you can play with these sims yourself if you want to when you get your hands on the game. I'm going to upload both the base game and like this version of them where I'm just using the new expansion pack. I'm also probably going to update them with some other features when I do my cross compatibility videos, so watch out for all those things. And again, if you are buying any packs and including the new expansion pack on the EA app, please consider using my creator code Cinderellimouse. It means EA send a little bit of money my way. It's kind of a way that you can kind of buy me a coffee if you enjoyed the video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already subscribed. I really appreciate your faces. I hope you have fun with this pack. And if you want to tag me on X or anywhere else and kind of say, hey, come and look at these sims I've created, look at these fantasy sims I've created, I do intend on doing another fantasy sims video when the pack's released to kind of see what everybody is doing with it. So if you want me to have a look at your sims, tag me in that, and yeah, I will prioritize that for you. I am gonna go. Take care of your faces. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Have a good week, friends. Bye.